大家早。
Today is a little bit special.
今天其实蛮特别的。
We have many guests who have come from a long way away to be with us.
我们有很多客人从远远的地方来与我们来在一起。
So we're going to spend the majority of today just introducing them to the congregation.
今天我们会花比较多的时间来介绍他们到我们中间里面。
But before we start,
我们在开始之前
maybe can I ask those people who are here for the first time to just stand up and introduce themselves to us?
我们可能还是会邀请其他第一次来我们中间的人，还是请你们站起来简短介绍你们自己。
So if you're here for the first time,
如果是第一次来
except for the Americans. The Americans.
除了从美国来的朋友们弟兄姊妹们，其他的我们可以先站起来吗？我们介绍一下我们自己。我的名字叫 Sandy， 那我很高兴我第一次能够来到你们当中，然后我们大家都很欢迎怎么讲？很友好，很欢迎我来。那我也谢谢说我的教授来介绍我们来介绍我来到聚会当中。Amen. Sure. These are my 3 friends. So I know them, some of them for more than 10 years. So I feel really terrible for not inviting them any earlier. David? Dave. Oh, Dave. All right. I see Emma.
I see Emma.
All right.
What city?
Which city? Shenzhen. All right. Amen. Okay. All right. Amen. Amen.
This morning, I was thinking how special the meeting was.
其实今天早上我觉得今天早上聚会对我来讲实在更特别一点。
In the church lately, we've been going through the book of Acts.
最近我们在追求使徒行传。
And last week we went through Acts chapter 13.
上礼拜呢，我们刚过使徒行传13章。
And when the elders were sitting around it praying,
当长老们聚在一起祷告的时候
they came from every part of the world.
他们是从不同的地方来在一起。
And they came from all parts of society.
他们可能从各世界上的不同阶级来到一起当中。
And this morning when I was praying with the leading ones,
当今天早上我们跟弟兄们一起祷告的时候
I looked around.
我看看我周遭
I saw there were some from China,
我们看一些是从中国来
some from Indonesia,
一些从印尼来
I'm from New Zealand,
我从纽西兰来
there was one from America,
从美国来
and then in the singing time,
在唱诗歌的时候
we have Albert representing Ghana.
So Nigeria,
sorry. Oh, Ghana.
No, Nigeria.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
我们有 Albert 弟兄，他从奈及利亚来。
Thomas representing Taiwan.
我们可能我从台湾来。
And Sarah representing both Canada and Australia by herself. Sarah.
Sarah 是她可能代表着加拿大跟美国。
So actually we come from everywhere.
实际上我们是从各个地方来在一起。
The one thing we have in common is Christ.
唯一一个我们有相同的地方就是我们有基督他自己。
The one thing we have is His precious life inside us.
我们有是他宝贝的生命到我们当中。
So I don't want to talk any more.
不想要他占太多的时间。
I want to spend the rest of this morning's meeting.
我想花就是接下来的时间
inviting the saints from America
可以邀请从美国来的弟兄姊妹们
to share something about the Christ that's inside them.
希望他们能够分享在他里面丰富的基督
this afternoon we're going to go sightseeing.
今天下午我们会想要拉他们一起去做一些观光的事情。
We may go as one big group,
我们可能是一大群人一起去，
but we may go as many small
可
groups.
是我们其实很盼望的是，我们可能有很多不同的小组一起到不同的地方。
So when the American saints introduce themselves to you,
当我美国弟兄姊妹们介绍他们自己的时候，
if you find, hey, that brother is just like me,
说那个弟兄就跟我一样，
make sure you invite them to go visiting after this meeting.
那你一定要把他拉在一起，你们一起去哪里走走。
So we just want to take advantage of this time to get to know each
我
other.
们实在是想利用这样子一个宝贝的机会，我们能够真的认识对方，熟悉对方。
The brothers and sisters are our family from across the sea.
这些弟兄姊妹们是我们的家中的亲人从海的另外一边来探望我们。
So there are 8 brothers and 4 sisters.
我们总共有8位弟兄跟4位的姊妹。
If I introduce them to you one by one, it's too hard to remember everybody.
若是我们一个一个分别的介绍，可能比较不容易记得他们。
So I'll introduce them to you by host family.
所以我们会用着他们的接待的家庭来单位来介绍他们。
So we're going to start with Brother Austin and Brother Alan.
所以我们会先介绍 Austin 跟 Alan。
Austin and Alan are staying with me.
Austin 跟 Alan 是住在我的家。
So if you could come up,
若是你可以上来，
share something about yourself,
可能分享一点有关你自己，
and maybe something that the Lord has touched you with.
或许是所给你们最近的一些的经历或是见证。
Now, Austin looks like he's going to start.
对，
So
老师应该会开始吧。
I have one question just to get you started.
我会先问第一个问题来让我们才开始今天的一个交通。
Austin, how long have you been saved?
你得救了多久？
3 years, about 3 years.
大概3年。
Only 3 years.
就只有3年。
He's already on the gospel odyssey.
他是已经在这个福音的之旅当
This
中。
is a brother who really loves the Lord.
这是一个非常爱主的弟兄。
Yeah, so, hey everybody, my name's Austin.
我的名字叫 Austin。
So, I just graduated from a 2-year college last year.
我去年从我一个2年的一个课程刚毕业。
I studied music management and production.
我读的是跟有关音乐的一个课程。
If you don't know what that is, it's recording artists and managing artists.
他这个课程是就是帮忙录音跟后置的一个制成的一个课程。
But I also do play some music.
那我也喜欢弹音乐。
I play guitar.
我弹吉他。
And a little bit of piano.
可能弹一点点的钢琴。
So maybe I could just share how I came to the Lord.
我可能分享说我如何来到主的面前。
So it was my first semester at college.
在我第一个学期的时候，
I knew a guy who was really good at cutting hair.
我认识一个很会剪头发的一个人。
He cut all of our hair in the dorms for free.
他帮我们的宿舍所有人剪头发，是免费帮我们剪头发，宿舍里面的所有的。
He was my friend too. I hung out with him a little bit.
他也是我的朋友，所以我常常跟他来在一起。
So I went over to his place for a haircut.
我去他家，他帮我剪头发。
And out of nowhere, he asked me if I believed in God.
他就是不知道为什么，他突然问我说：“你信不信？相信神？”
So I just answered pretty honestly, I don't know, maybe.
我跟他说，可能我也不太确定。
I told him that I've never seen any kind of proof of God.
因为我跟他说，我没有看到任何的一个见证说神真的存在。
So the idea of God and miracles and the Bible all seemed like a fairy tale.
讲到说圣经呢，或者圣经里面神经骑士呢，对我来讲都只是一个童话故事一般。
But I was still pretty interested, so we talked for about 2 hours that night.
但是我还是很有兴趣，所以我们那天晚上我们聊了大概2个多钟头。
I remember 3 things specifically that he showed me that night.
我记得那天晚上有3件事情，我还记得他跟我讲的那3件事。
I remember how harsh he was with me, actually.
我还记得他是对我是非常的严肃。
He kind of called me out, made me aware of a lot of the sin that I was living in.
他指出很多我生命中的一些的罪过。
He talked about some specific things in my life.
他讲到一些在我生命中的一些很实际的一些的发生过的事。
He was smacking his leg.
他一直就是很用力的打他的脚。
He was very hard on me.
他就是很认真的对我严肃的对我说一些事情。
But I remember I couldn't argue any of the stuff that he was saying.
但是我却没办法为我自己做任何的辩驳。
I knew how I was living was wrong.
我知道我的生活并不是太好。
And the second thing he showed me was how righteous God is.
第二件事情，他跟我讲到是说神是如何是一位公义的神。
And how God is a judge.
神也是一位审判的那一位。
He told me despite all the good things that I've done, God still has to judge me according to my sin.
不管我这一生我做过多少好的事情，但是神还是为着我所做错的事情，对我来做他公义的审判。
So I started to realize what he was saying. I actually deserved this.
所以他讲完之后，我突然就才知道说，原来我是罪有应得吧。
The third thing that he showed me was how lost I was.
那还有，他也让我知道说我是多么的迷惘，我是一个迷失的一个人。
Before talking to him, I thought I had everything figured out.
在我跟他这样子的聊天之前，我觉得我好像这一生我已经很确定我要做些什么，我这一生是如何的。
I was getting good grades.
我的功课还不错。
I had a job.
我有一份工作。
I had a really happy family.
我的家庭生活很好。
But then after I talked to him, I asked myself, what is all this for?
当我跟他讲完之后，我说我的生命到底究竟是为何如何
I was so confused with what this life even means.
我甚至觉得非常的迷惘，说我这一生到底是为了什么？
If I'm going to die someday,
若是我有一天，若是有一天我将面临死亡，那我该怎么面对？
And then the conversation ended.
那我们的交谈就这么停了。
So he only shared with me. He didn't even mention Jesus that night.
其实他那天也没有讲到说耶稣是谁，没有讲到任何这样的事。
But I remember going back to my room and I was so stirred up.
我记得是我回到我房间的时候，我实在心非常的不安稳。
I remember being happy that my roommate wasn't there because I cried for hours.
我很高兴那天晚上我的室友不在房间，因为我那天我哭了很久。
It's so interesting because I was still unsure if God existed.
但是很有趣的一件事情是，那天晚上我还是不确定神是不是真的存在。
But inwardly, I felt so bad about myself.
但是我里面有一个很不好的感觉，说我实在是非常的亏欠，就是非常不好的感觉在我里面。
I was more upset that I went 19 years without even caring about God.
我觉得我非常的不满，说过往的19年的生活，我完全不在乎神。
I never asked God for forgiveness that night, but I remember telling him how sorry I was.
我并没有跟他求神来赦免我，但是我却跟主说，主啊，我对不起你。
So then I started reading the Bible and asking a lot of questions.
我从那天开始，我开始读圣经，我开始有很多圣经上的问题。
I ended up calling one of my friends who was a Christian that I had known from high school.
刚好我在高中有一个同学是基督徒，我就开始跟他聊。
I remember reading the Bible with him over the phone.
我可能就是打电话跟他来读这本圣经。
And then he shared with me about Jesus.
他就从那时候跟我分享有关于耶稣的事。
He shared with me that despite all the bad that I've done,
他说不管说你做过多少的错事，
that God still wants to know me.
神还是想要来认识你。
God still cares about me.
神还是非常的在乎你。
God still made a way for me to know him.
神还是给一条路让他来到他面前。
It was hard at first to receive this gift.
一开始其实并不是那么容易能够接受这样子的一份礼物。
I remember feeling like there's no way I can accept this.
我有感觉说，我实在是不能够接受这一份的礼物。
I don't deserve God.
我并不值得，并不配得这份礼物。
And then what made me really receive Christ
究竟为什么让我真的能够接受这位救主呢？
was hearing God not only was offering me himself,
神不只是将他自己献给我们，
but God was really asking me to take this.
神实在是要我们来接受他到里面。
It's different when somebody just offers you a gift and says, here, you can have it.
一方面有人可能说这个礼物是送给你的，
But when somebody says, I really want you to have this gift,
当他说我真的很想要你得到这份礼物的时候，
that really made a difference to me.
对我来说这是一个很重要的一个重点。
And so then I had another night where I was crying before God.
还有另外一天晚上，也是我在神面前哭泣的时候。
And in this night, I couldn't refuse the gift.
这天晚上我实在不能拒绝神给我的这份礼物。
So after this, I started reading the Bible with my friend, or I continued to read the Bible with my friend.
这天当然我还是继续的读这本圣经。
And God started changing me on the inside.
神慢慢的开始变化我里面的一些的构成。
I remember even the way I viewed money changed.
尤其是我对金钱的看法慢慢的改变。
The way I viewed my school changed.
我对我的功课的成绩的看法也慢慢改变。
Even how I interacted with my family was changing.
我跟我自己家人的一个相处也慢慢改变了。
So eventually, I graduated and didn't want to pursue the music industry.
当我结束课程之后，我并不想要继续做音乐的工作的时候。
And so I ended up giving a year to just build a foundation to give to God.
我毕业之后，我决定我愿意给神1年的时间，让我能够在他面前有做很好的根基。
Amen.
Hey guys, I'm Alan.
我们叫 Alan。
What I say? Next year I'm going to be studying computer science at MIT.
明年我会读关于电脑的课程，在 MIT 读电脑的课程。
I don't know if you heard that. He said that very quietly. But actually, it's something quite special. It's MIT.
虽然他可能讲话稍微小声一点，可是你们要知道，麻省理工学院其实是一个很特别的学校。
Not anybody can get into MIT.
不是任何一个人想要去都可以进去这个学校。
So I realized Alan's a very smart boy.
所以我们可以知道说他是一个蛮聪明的一个小孩。
Sorry for interrupting.
Okay, so I'm actually not sure how long I've been saved because
其实我不太确定我到底得救了多久。
because I grew up in the church life and I don't know when exactly that transition happened.
因为我生长在一个基督徒的家庭里面，所以我实在不太确定什么时候我踏过了那个分界线。
But I grew up this way, and my parents brought me to church every Sunday. But as I was growing up, I wasn't really sure who Jesus was.
当我的爸妈带我去教会去参加教会的时候，我也去，可是我里面不确定神。
And I think this is common to a lot of second-generation Christians.
我相信这对一个第二代基督徒是一个非常频繁、非常常见的一个现象。
Because you're sort of fed everything into you, and you don't have to discover anything yourself.
你常常是被人喂所圣经来的一些的食物，你不需要自己去发掘或去挖掘圣经里面的宝贝。
But I have one experience that sort of changed my whole viewpoint on Christianity.
但是我记得有一次的有一个经历对我来讲是一个转捩点吧。
So I think it was actually 1 or 2 years ago at a church conference.
我记得大概是1-2年前，在一个教会的特会当中。
We have this old lady at our church. We call her grandma.
有一位年纪比较年长的一个姊妹，我们叫她奶奶。
And she told me that at this church conference, I would be a small group leader.
因为她跟我讲说，在这一个特会当中，我会是一个小组的组长。
Now it wasn't that intense because I still had an older co-leader with me to help me through.
其实没有那么的恐怖，因为我其实还有另外一个人跟我一起配搭。
But it was still sort of my first experience, not only leading myself to the Lord, but also leading others to the Lord.
但是这是我第一次把我自己带到主面前，也是我第一次尝试的把别人带到主面前来。
And in this process, I wasn't sure what to do.
在这个过程当中，我不太确定我该怎么做或者该做些什么。
I was really nervous.
其实我非常的紧张。
Because I hadn't really done anything like this before. I was afraid, what if I messed up? What if I said the wrong thing?
因为我从来没有做过这样的事情，所以我很紧张，说我怕说我不知道该怎么做，那我会不会说错话，做错的事情。
So the first night, I just prayed to the Lord.
所以第一天晚上我跟主祷告。
I just prayed that He would give me His Spirit.
我愿意跟求主求他的灵到我的当中。
That He would guide me through this weekend.
他能够完完全全的带领我走，就是在这个特会带领着我。
So then, nothing really happened right away.
一开始其实没什么事情发生，就是好像没什么事。对。
But the next day, at night, me and this older brother, we just started talking about random topics.
在隔天的晚上呢，另外一个比较年长一点的弟兄，我们就开始闲聊吧。
Yeah, so we just like talked for maybe 1 or 2 hours. Like it wasn't structured or anything. We just like went from topic to topic.
那天晚上我们大概聊了1-2个钟头，并不是一个特别要讲什么事情，就是我们可能就是聊任何的脑袋想到的一些事。
Yeah, and that was that.
那就是那样子的一个经历。
But then the next day,
但是再隔一天呢，
at night we were supposed to have a small group sort of gathering.
在第3天晚上，我们有一个是一个开一个小组一个聚会吧。
And then in this small group gathering, we're talking about just whatever we wanted.
其实在这个小组，我们也可以谈论任何的事。
And then our group members started asking questions.
那我们的小组的组员呢，开始问一些的问题。
And then one by one, the questions they asked lined up perfectly with the topics we had talked about the night before.
那每一个人所问的问题，每一个问题都跟我们前一天所讨论的信息是完全吻合的。
And I didn't know. I was just like, I was speechless.
对我来讲，我实在是对我非常惊讶，就是居然这样子发生。
Yeah, so we were able to answer all these because we prepared before the night before.
那我也就能够回答这样子一些的问题，因为我们之前有做过一些的准备。
And I didn't know what it meant, but I sort of interpreted it as a sign from God.
对我来说，这是神给我的一个神迹。
Yeah, so from then on, I started taking God seriously.
从那一次开始，我对神开始认真了。
So I started really reading the Bible.
我真的开始认真的来读这本圣经。
Like for second generation Christians, a lot of the time it's hard to like really immerse yourself into the Bible.
对的，第2代基督徒，其实你真的要认真来读这本圣经的话，其实是非常不容易的事。
Yeah, I know before I would like read a chapter and completely forget everything in it.
我可能就是以前可能读一章，然后就完全的忘掉了它。
But this time afterwards, I started meditating on the scriptures.
这一次呢，我开始读完圣经之后，我开始对我读过的经节开始冥想。
Yeah, and then I felt myself change as a person.
对我来讲，我觉得说我自己都感觉到我这个人开始有点的改变。
Yeah, I became just like a better person. I became less angry. I became less sinful and all of that.
对我来说，我的生命开始有一些的改变。我不是那么的愤怒的一个人。那我的生活也慢慢的没有那么多的罪行了。
Yeah, and like looking back, I'm really glad that happened.
你往回看，我真的很开心，有主也给我这样的一个经历。
So, Alan, how old are you again?
I'm 18.
他18岁。
So if anybody knows an 18-year-old who will be influenced positively by invite him to dinner sometime in this next week.
若是觉得你可能有一位18岁的小孩，觉得想要被他来正面的影响的话，请在未来的几天邀请他去你家吃饭。
Thank you. Okay, we've had 2 brothers, so let's have 2 sisters, Jenny and Keisha.
我们可能有 Jenny 跟 Keisha 来跟我们做见证。
Hi everyone. My name is Jenny. I was here last year too.
我的名字叫 Jenny， 其实我去年有来过。
And I'm really happy to be here again.
我很高兴能够再来一次。
So my background is actually very similar to Alan.
其实我的背景跟 Alan 其实非常的相似。
I think we've known each other since we were 3 or 4 years old.
我们可能2、3、4岁的时候我们就认识对方了。
Literally our whole lives we've seen each other once or twice a week.
所以就是可能从3、4岁，我们一礼拜至少会见2、3次面。
So we also had the same second generation experience.
对我们来说，我们也同样的相同的所谓的第2代基督徒的一些的经历。
So from a very young age, we were always fed things of Christ, and we always had the knowledge in the backs of our heads, I think.
从小吧，从幼我们就被我们的爸妈来灌溉所有关于圣经一些的知识到我们的脑袋里面。
But it wasn't until maybe my senior year of high school when I had a very real experience with the
可是直到说我的大概是高中的末了的时候，我才有一个非常实际的对神的一个经历。
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember from last year, but I also talked about how applying and the whole college application process was very like stressful for me as a person.
我去年有分享过说，当我要报大学的这个考试的报考大学的时候，那段时间是非常的辛苦的时间。
And I think that was the first time I really gave something that important to the Lord.
那是我第一次把一个很重要的生命中很重要的一件事情交托在主的手上。
And I had my whole life I had never had a hardship like that because I grew up so sheltered in second generation.
因为我的生命从小到大实在是被保护的非常的好，所以这个时候才是我第一次把一些很辛苦把一个重担交在神的手中。
And then I actually went to college, which was this past year.
所以去年呢，我就去了我的学校。
And to be honest, it was very hard for me as a Christian.
对我来说，我愿意跟你们说，这一年其实也是非常的辛苦。
My whole life I had been surrounded by Christian friends.
我这一生都是我身边很多的朋友都是基督徒。
And then when I went to school, not one of my close friends was Christian.
在这个学校，所有的比较好的朋友没有一个是基督徒。
And I found it very easy to just fall into ambition and wanting to get good grades and have a good career.
对我来说非常容易就陷入一个状况，说我只愿意追求好的成绩，只愿意追求我的一个我的职业。
And I don't think I even realized how bad that got until I came home from college in the summer.
对我来说，我自己却不知道说我的生命有这么样子的一个走下坡，直到我回家之后。
I think I realized before I went to college, a lot of me was defined by being a Christian because that was the way I was raised.
对我来说我之前是因为我是被基督徒家庭里面成长，所以这是等于是我的一个yeah, don't know how to translate that. Yeah, keep going.
And when I came home from the summer, just like interacting with people from my childhood again, I realized I really didn't like the person I had become in college.
当我从住校回到家之后，慢慢的跟我的基督徒朋友来在一起，我才真的很不喜欢我现在变成是什么样子的一个人。
Just following my grades and what I wanted in the future without the Lord, it was so empty.
我发觉说，若是我这一生我只追求好的成绩跟好的工作，我生命实在是非常的空虚跟空虚。
But during the year, one sister who was doing labor would call me every single week.
在这段可是不然如何，在这段时间呢，有一位在做10月追求的一位姊妹，一直的跟我打电话，跟我有联络。
And honestly, most of the time I didn't want to pick up.
我也愿意很坦白跟你说，我并不是想要跟这位姊妹有任何的交通。
She would always ask me if I wanted to pray, and a lot of the times, honestly, I didn't, so I wouldn't hurt her feelings. Yeah, so I would always pray with her every week.
那这姊妹常常邀请我说，我们是不是一起来祷告呢？虽然我心里面百般的不想，因为我尊重她，所以我好吧，那我还是跟你祷告吧。
And she would always read the Bible with me, and then afterwards she would ask me all these questions about what I thought about what we just read.
我们在读完圣经之后呢，她常常就问我说，所以你觉得读完这一段有什么的感觉？
And I was always really tired and stressed out by school, and honestly sometimes just like annoyed why she would bother me with this all the time.
因为功课业非常的繁重，我常常会，甚至我很不想要回答这些问题，甚至有时候很生气，说你为什么要来烦我？
But now reflecting on it, I realized that was the only meaningful experience I had this entire past year in college.
那我们从我这样的往回看，我才发现说，原来这是我唯一在神面前有值得的一些的经历，在神面前的经历。
And even though I was always annoyed at the time, now I get so emotional thinking about it because she cared for me so much.
虽然我在那个时候，我其实非常的讨厌她，讨厌这样子一个感觉，但是我现在回想看来，我非常的很感动，里面很被这样事情的摸着，因为她是爱我的。
And I know that the Lord made us companions for a reason.
我认识到说，神把我们拉在一起，是有神的目的。
And that sort of friendship and companionship is deeper than any of the ones that I had at school.
这样子的一个关系，实在是比我任何其他属人的关系是更深厚、更有意义的。
And even now, like I don't know how to experience the Lord in the way that I did in high school.
我实在不知道说我在高中的如何有这样如何的经历。
And honestly, a lot of the times I just have a lot of anxiety about where the Lord is because I feel because I'm scared that I'll go back into what I did the first year of college.
其实我还蛮紧张，我很不想要回到我以前那样子的一个经历，在神面前的一个经历。
But because of the companions I had and the fellowship that I had with her, I have faith that the Lord will give me new experiences.
因为我有这样子的一个同伴，我相信主是信实的，会给我最好的安排，让我不会回到我之前的生活。
Hey everybody, I'm Keisha and I'm from Singapore.
我是 Keisha， 我是从新加坡来。
I study math in Oberlin. I
我是
go to the church in Cleveland.
我在克利夫兰是读数学的。
Yeah, so I also had a similar experience to Jenny and Ellen.
其实我的经历也还蛮类似的就是跟 Alan 跟 Jenny 蛮类似的。
Yeah, I grew up in the church and I believed most of the things that they said.
我也是在教会当中成长，那我也信所有一切跟我诉说的事情。
But I believe that the Lord was real to me from a young age.
我从小也知道说神是真的。
Because I felt like when I was young, I didn't have many friends.
我觉得说我在小的时候并没有那么多的朋友。
And it was very easy for me to feel lonely.
我可能很容易觉得孤单。
And my family situation also made me feel like sometimes I wasn't loved.
在我家庭一些事情让我觉得说我好像生命中没有那么多的爱。
Sometimes I was just all alone.
有时候觉得说我真的是孤单。
And so I remember being able to sing songs like Jesus Loves Me.
对我来讲说，我儿时能够唱说耶稣爱我的类似的一些诗歌的话。
And I always feel a lot of peace and a lot of comfort.
从当中我能够得到很多的安息，很多的平安。
And then when I was 12.
当我在12岁的时候。
My family decided to move from the small church that we were in to look for another church.
在我12岁的时候，我们家庭决定到另外一个教会当中。
And I remember at that time I felt really sad.
那时候我觉得是非常的伤心。
Because I had friends there and I really liked the people over there.
因为我那边我有很多我的朋友，那我跟那些人都很熟悉。
So when I asked my dad if I could stay while they left, my dad asked me why I should be doing that.
当我跟我爸爸要求说你们离开，那我可不可以留在这边呢？那我爸问我说为什么
？And I realized I didn't have any good answers for that.
但我那时候并没有很好的答案回答他。
And I realized that I didn't really know if I was a Christian.
那时候突然觉得说我好像我不太确定我到底是不是一个基督徒。
And I started having a lot of existential thoughts.
那时候我等于是有些的问题嘛。
Like I didn't know if there was really a God.
那时候我觉得说我开始问我自己到底是不是真的有神。
I didn't know if there was really heaven and hell.
我不确定说到底是不是真的有天堂跟地狱这样子一般。
And I didn't know where I was going.
我也不太确定我到底会往哪里走。
And so I decided I should take this very seriously.
那我那时候觉得说我应该要认真的面对这样子一件事。
Because if I didn't know, then I'll probably be going to hell.
若是我不太确定的话，那我应该是往地狱走吧。
So I started thinking about the Bible and I started wondering what God would want me to do.
我就开始思考圣经里面的事情，也开始跟神讨论说，到底我生命该是什么？
I think what seemed the most legitimate or the most serious at that moment was the Ten Commandments.
对，那时候我记得说我在读10诫的事情。
So I decided I'm going to memorize all of them. I'm going to do it.
我那时候好吧，那我就来背这10诫吧。
And I realized the first day I just
我记得我第一天我连第一个我都记不太得，背不起来。
And the second day, I didn't even remember to go and read it.
第二天我连读我都忘记要去读。
And I started feeling really condemned.
那我觉得说我里面有一个很定罪的一个感觉在我当中。
Because I realized that instead of becoming better, my life became worse.
我觉得说我生命与其是往更好的方向走，好像越走下坡了。
I started lying more.
我开始甚至开始会说更多的谎。
Yeah, and I started looking up things that I knew I shouldn't be doing.
我开始找一些我不应该去思考或者是搜寻的事情。
And then so I just hoped that God would see that I tried.
我想跟神说，主啊，你应该知道我也试过了吧。
But in my new church, I learned more about Jesus, and I learned how He really paid the price for me.
当我去了新的教会当中，我开始真的认识到说，耶稣是什么样子一位，那他如何为我付了如何的代价。
Yeah, and it started becoming a lot more personal.
从这开始，神对我来讲是更亲近的一位。
Because like while I had talents and while I had gifts,
就当我有一些恩赐的时候呢，
I realized through that experience that I really had nothing.
但是借着这样子的一些的经历，让我觉得说我实在什么都没有。
And it was through the many sermons and just the teaching.
在很多的教导、很多的信息当中，
That I realized that God was really, God still loved me,
神还是爱着我的，
and God wanted to be my righteousness.
他愿意成为我的公义。
Yeah. So just being in that new church and hearing about the gospel,
在这个新的教会当中听到如此的福音，
made me realize that I didn't have any strength by myself,
让我认识到说我实在对自己没有任何的力量，
but that He can be my strength,
但是他可以成为我的力量，
and that He can be my righteousness,
他可以成为我的义，
and that I don't need to work hard to earn His approval.
我并不需要如何的努力来得到他的称许，
Yeah, but I can just receive the love and I can receive the help that He has to give me.
我实在是能够得到他的爱跟他所一切的帮助。
So that's been very real to me thus far.
所以这是对我讲是很确定的一个经历。
Amen.
Amen.
So this is Keisha and Jenny, and they're staying with Christine and Bill.
所以他们是住在崔毅跟荣毅的家。
Amen. And now these two brothers are staying with Joe and Lily.
两位弟兄他们住在Joe跟 Lily 的家。
Sam and Brandon.
Hello, my name is Brandon.
我名字叫 Brandon。
I'm 22 years old right now.
我22岁。
I was baptized when I was 15,
我在15岁的时候受浸。
and I really started following the Lord when I was 16 years old.
但我真的愿意，我说我追随主，大概是我16岁的时候。
So one experience I had in the last year showed me how faithful God was.
去年我有一个经历说神的信实。
So I was praying to the Lord one day,
我有一天我在跟神祷告。
and in part of this conversation I was having with the Lord, I had said something like, how do I know that this life that I'm living is the best life?
我对神有一个问题，我说我现在过的生活是最好的生活吗？
I have been living for God for the last 5 or so years,
我等于在神面前生活了大概5、6年。
but I haven't really experienced the worldly life.
我并没有真的经历过属世的生活。
I don't really care about school that much.
我可能不太在乎我学校的事情。
I don't care about making that much money.
我不太在乎说我到底赚多少钱。
But I do care about God.
但是我在乎神。
And isn't that what we want, what we desire?
这不就是我们应该追求的事吗？
But still I had this question to God. How do I know that this is the best?
但是我还是对神有一个疑问，说我怎么知道说这就是最好的呢？
Yeah, maybe I should just focus on career, focus on money, and then maybe that is a better life.
或许我应该来追求钱，来追求这个世界，或许这才是最好的。
But very quickly I realized that God is so faithful.
但是很快的，我才真的认识到说神其实是信实。
That very same day, I was singing a hymn.
同一天呢，我有在唱一首诗歌。
And then I don't even remember what hymn it is or what line. But
其实我可以说我不记得是哪一首诗歌或是哪一句话。
But in it, the Lord spoke to me.
但是从中主对我说话。
And the Lord said, it was such an overwhelming surety that this is the best life.
对我来说，这是一个无可否认，实在是像是海浪过来一般的一个，让我知道说这就是最好的生命。
But not just the best lifestyle, but inside me is the best life.
这是实在是在我里面的生命是最好的生命。
God's life is so much greater than any other essence or any other kind of thing that's inside of me.
在神的生命在我当中，实在是比任何在我里面当中都是更好的。
So now I just praise the Lord for this experience that I had.
我实在是赞美主给我如何以此的经历，知道说主是他是甚好的。
It's true. I don't find that much pleasure in the world right now.
我实在是不觉得在世界有太多能够吸引我的事。
But I have so much faith that I know that God is so faithful in showing me that His life is the best.
我们感谢主的信实来证明说他的生命实在是最好的生命。
Amen. Now, wait, before you pass the mic, just one quick question. I've got a couple of questions. What did you study?
你是读什么？
Studied computer science.
是读有关于电脑。
What university?
Purdue.
And how many years does it normally take to finish your degree?
通常你这个是你的课程是多久
4 years.
4年。
多久 How many years did you take?
3 years.
So he has a choice. He can choose any career he wants.
OK， 所以其实他可以选择追求各种不一样的工作。
But he chose the Lord.
但是他选择神。
So that's quite special.
我觉得这是非常特别的。
Amen.
Hello everyone. My name is Samuel.
我的名字叫 Samuel。
I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
我是从Columbus 俄亥俄州。
I graduated from Ohio State University and was working as an actuary.
我毕业之后是做有关于精算的事情，精算的工作。
I actually quit last Wednesday.
我上礼拜三我刚辞职。
So that I could be here and to do the 10-month labor next year.
所以我才能够来这里，然后愿意参加接下来的10月的追求。
But I'm not going to tell you about that story.
我可能先不会跟你分享说那个故事。
I think I also grew up in the church life.
我也相同，我也是从教会生活当中成长的一位。
So like many of the second generation, I could tell you a lot of things about God.
我也可以像所有的第二代基督徒跟你讲有关于神的事情。
But today I want to tell you a story about 2 people.
但是我先想跟你分享有关于2个人的故事。
I think these 2 people in my life were very influential to me.
这两个人呢，在我的生命中是有很重要的，因为对我影响很大。
And the way that they lived have set me on a certain path that I've lived for the rest of my life.
他们如何的过他们这一生让我知道说我这一生该如何的过。
Okay, so person number 1.
第一位。
So when I was in 6th grade,
当我在6年级的时候。
there was a family that moved into our city.
有一个家庭呢搬到我住的那个城市。
Their daughter was 1 year older than me.
他们的女儿大概比我大1岁。
And their son was 1 year older than my younger brother.
他们的儿子呢比我的弟弟也是长1岁。
So our parents became very fast friends.
所以我们的父母们呢变成很好的朋友。
And we ended up spending a lot of time with each other, even without us knowing each other.
所以他们就来在这，我们就变得非常的密切的一个关系。
And at that time, I would say that I was already a believer.
我愿意说那时候我已经是一位信神的人。
I knew a lot of the Bible stories.
我也知道了很多圣经里面的故事。
I knew even more of the hymns.
我可能知道很多的诗歌，我熟识很多诗歌。
And if you ask me how to preach the gospel to someone, I could probably get you saved. Actually, maybe not.
我可能可以跟你说该如何的来传福音。
But when that family moved into our city, Akron,
当那个家庭搬到 Akron 的时候，
I noticed that there was something very different about their daughter.
我发现说他们的女儿不太一样，
She really loved the Lord.
她真的很爱主。
And you know, I knew a lot of people who loved the Lord at that time in my life.
其实那时候我认识蛮多爱主的人，
But I don't think I had ever met someone who was my age.
但是我觉得说我并没有认识太多爱主人是在我同样年纪的人，
Who was so different because they loved the Lord.
他实在是跟我其他朋友非常的不同，因为他爱主。
And it wasn't just in church meetings,
他爱主呢，不只是在聚会当中爱主，
but even everyone at school knew that she was different.
就算是在学校呢，很多人也都觉得说他实在是非常的不一样。
Within her, there was something solid.
在他的里面，有一个东西是非常的坚固的，非常坚牢的。
There was something righteous.
有些是非常的公义，非常有公义的。
And there was a kind of a overflowing joy.
有一个是满满的喜乐。
So at some point after spending enough time with her,
当我们相处一段时间之后，
I very distinctly remember thinking, what is that?
我突然记得有一次我说你到底有什么？
What do you have?
你到底有什么？
How can I have that?
我如何能够得到你有的那一位？
I think after that year, I began to pursue the Lord seriously.
这在那一年我才开始真的认真的来追求主。
Okay, person number 2.
然后第二个人，
When I was around maybe 1 year or 2 years after that time,
大概在那一次的经历在1、2年之后，
and from around 8th grade to me graduating high school,
大概从我8年级到我高中毕业的当中，
there was another sister who had moved into Akron.
有另外一位姊妹也搬到 Akron 来住，
She came for med school,
她来这边读医学院，
and somehow she decided that she wanted to take care of the young people.
她觉得说她愿意来服侍那边的青少年。
And at that time in Akron, the young people consisted of all boys and one girl.
那时候的青少年，所有都是男生，就1位女生。
Oh, 2 girls actually.
2位女生。
So this med student
这位医学院的学生，
spent a lot of time with us.
跟我们来这里花很多的时间。
And I don't know if you know any med students, but they don't have a lot of time.
如果你不知道说医学院学生的话，他们其实没有太多的时间。
But this med student decided to, we saw her at a minimum of 4 times a week.
可是我可以愿意跟你说，我1个礼拜可以看到她4次。
We would probably all say that she was a second mother to us.
我们很多人可以愿意见证说，她是我们的第2位母亲。
But the thing about Megan, this med student,
有对Megan 有一件事情，
and what she taught me,
她教我的一件事，
was, well, she was very hard on me.
其实她对我是非常严厉的，
Because she was very serious about the Lord.
因为她对主是非常认真的，
And she wanted to make sure that I was very serious about the Lord as well.
所以她很确定要让我也知道是对神也是要认真的。
For example, we would pray together once a week on Mondays.
我们每一周一我们会来一起祷告。
We would call each other and read the Bible and pray.
我们每一周一我们会来一起读点圣经，有一点的祷告。
And sometimes after we prayed, she would say,
有些时候我们祷告完之后，她会跟我说，
"You haven't been reading the Bible, have you?"
她说你没有真的认真，这一周你并没有很认真在读圣经吧？
Because she could tell.
因为她可以知道说我好像并没有那么的认真。
In my prayer, she can tell when I was weak.
在我祷告当中，她知道我是非常的软弱的。
And she could tell when my heart was not with the Lord.
她也知道说，在我祷告中知道我的心并不是向神。
So many times,
常常
she would say, "What are you doing?"
她会说你到底在干什么？
And I think that has affected me a lot.
这样子的对我来，这样对我实在是有很大的一些影响。
And not only did she really, was hard on us, but she also really loved us.
他不只是对我们很严厉，他也非常的爱着我。
And that time together we had with her is very sweet in my memory.
这段的时间对我来讲，其实是非常甜美的一段时间。
And it's hard to explain now, but for me as a person and what I find important now.
其实这段经历很难能够用言语好好的诉说，但是这段时间对我来说呢，很重要。
Is how she lived her life and what she cared about has affected what I care about.
对他来说，他是如何的过他这一生，他究竟对什么事情来认真，对我的这一生的方向有很大的影响。
She changed my view from just having a personal relationship with the Lord.
他改变我对神的这个的关系的一个看法。
But she really poured her life out for others.
而且他把他的生命就如此的倒出来给我们。
When I think about it, I don't even know if she had any friends her age.
对我来说，我并不知道他有没有太多跟他同年纪的同伴。
Because she spent all of her time with some bratty high schoolers.
因为他把他的所有时间放在这群问题的小孩。
But I could see that time was so joyful for her.
但是我可以看得出来，那段时间对他来说却是非常甜美的一段时间。
Because she could see how we grew in the Lord.
因为他可以看到说我们如何在神面前的成长。
And when she saw that we began to love the Lord.
因为当他看到我们开始慢慢的爱主的时候
，she could say that was worth everything.
他可以知道说这一切都是值得的。
So I pray that my life could be such a way.
我愿意如此的祷告说，愿我的生命也是如此一般。
So you left your job.
I left my job.
To pursue the Lord.
Yes.
Praise the Lord.
所以离开你的工作，然后来追求主。
Amen, brother. Okay, now we move on to the brother-sister combinations. So, first of all, the sisters. Staying with Joseph and Lisa are Lily and Hannah.
我们住在 Lisa 跟 Joseph 家，是 Lily 跟 Hannah。
Hello everyone.
大家好。
So first I'll start by introducing myself.
我愿意介绍我自己。
My name is Lily, and I go to Case Western Reserve, which is a university in Cleveland.
我在克利夫兰的一个大学读书。
And I grew up in a Christian home.
我也是在一个基督徒家庭里面成长。
So I heard about the gospel
我也
for
听
most of my life.
我这一生一直听到有关于福音的事。
And so I know that this week we will be, these 10 days we will be spending a lot of time in the gospel.
我也知道说，在未来的10天或者10天当中，我会花很多的时间在福音当中。
And I've been struck recently by the question of how real really is the gospel to me.
最近有一个问题，或者说我对我自己一个问题是说，这个福音对我是how real？
How real?
OK， 这个福音对我来有多么的真实，有多真实？
And through the past few years, I feel that the Lord has been revealing different parts of His gospel to me in my experience.
对我来说，最近这几年吧，神慢慢的把他自己在福音的事上对我做显现。
Even though I had heard the stories and the gospel and believed in it when I was young.
就算说我已经听过这个福音的事情很多次了，而且在很年幼的时候，我就已经相信了这个福音。
Like I'm experiencing it portion by portion.
但是我慢慢的开始一点一点来经历这样子的福音。
So I want to give an example of that.
我想给你一个简单的经历。
So as a lot of you know, I came to live in Australia for 6 months.
很多人你知道说，我去年我来雪梨住了大概6个月。
Before that time, I was following the Lord, but I realized that a lot of I put a lot of emphasis on how I was doing.
我愿意说，我在那之前，我愿意是说我是一个跟随主的人，但是我也愿意说，我很多的时间是在照顾说我到底如何。
As in, I felt very accomplished when I was able to do things for the Lord.
我觉得说我好像可以为主做很多事情。
And then when I came to Australia,
当我来到澳大利亚的时候
like it was the first time that I was really walking with Him and needing to make decisions for Him.
我才开始觉得说，我才开始知道说，我是慢慢的与主同行，然后跟主来有这样子一个交通。
It was difficult for me living here, but I was asked to stay for another month.
其实在这6月的时间并不是那么的容易，然后最后我有人要求我说你是能够再多1个月。
And through this time, in this difficulty, I started to harden my heart toward God.
其实在这段时间呢，我把我自己心坚硬对神硬了起来。
But then through spending time with you saints, I eventually did extend for a month.
但是因为我们弟兄姊妹的关系，我愿意把我自己再摆在里面，都摆1个月。
But specifically, the part of the gospel that I want to talk about is the blood of Jesus.
有一段是愿意跟你讲，愿意分享有关于福音的事情，是讲到说是他的血，他的宝血。
So I remember last year,
我记得去年有一次，
we were sitting in the English-speaking meeting,
我们在英文的聚会的地方，
and we were singing about the blood of Jesus.
我们在唱有关于神的宝血。
And I refused to sing it
我不想唱那首诗歌，
because I just didn't understand what it did.
我不太认识说它这宝血到底有什么样子的功效，做了什么样的事。
All of the things that I had heard in my childhood, as I was finally faced with this difficult time of life, I realized that I didn't really get it.
就算我从小知道这样的事情，那再搭配到说我生活的一些的困难，我实在是不了解这个宝血是什么。
And then, so that was here in Australia.
这是在澳大利亚的一个经历。
And after I came back from Australia, I also, similar to Austin, gave a year to pursue the Lord.
当我回到美国的时候，我也像 Austin 一样，把我1年的时间奉献给神。
And at the beginning of that time, I felt very condemned.
在一开始的追求的时候，里面有很多的一个控告的感觉。
I felt like these whole 6 months was just me wrestling with the Lord and really finding out my failures.
我觉得说，在澳大利亚的6个月，实在是这个经历是发现我很多里面的一些缺陷，做了错的事情。
And so for kind of the whole first half of the internship, or the year that I gave,
大概在前6个月，我因为奉献给神的那一年的前6个月，
I was wrestling with this feeling of condemnation and feeling not good enough.
我在跟这个觉得说我不够好的感觉呢，还有跟这个受控告的感觉在摔跤，在挣扎。
But then the second year in around February.
大概在去年的在第2年的2月的时候。
No, the second half of the year.
OK， 在这一年的第二半的时候。
I was actually on an airplane.
我那时候刚在坐飞机的时候。
And I was really, really touched by the blood of the Lamb completely covering us.
我那时候非常摸着说呢，这羔羊的宝血是完完全全的包覆着我。
It's actually because we were going to China, and the traditional Chinese word for righteousness.
那其实因为如果说你知道中文字义是怎么样子写
Is lamb, the character for lamb.
所以是羊的这个字
Over me.
在我的之上。
And so I was so touched by how completely the blood of the lamb covers us.
其实我非常摸着说是神的宝血是完全的包覆着我。
And so all of the efforts that I had put so much value in.
所有我自己的一些的努力。
I experienced a time of failure.
我经历了很多我自己的不足，自己的失败。
And yet the blood of the lamb still covers me.
但是神的宝血还是的包覆着我。
So that is a part of the gospel that has been my experience recently.
所以这是在这个福音当中其中就是其中一点我很有经历的一点。
Before you start, Mark asked me, do we have a break between the Lord's table and the prophesying? And I said, not usually, because we Chinese saints we are tough. we can sit and listen for 2 hours. But I feel like if anyone wants to stretch, we should quickly stand up and have a 2-second stretch. So everybody just stand up.
I'm Hannah.
大家好，我的名字叫 Hannah。
I'm studying at Liberty University, and I'm studying American Sign Language Interpreting and Social Work.
我读的是美国的手语跟social work 社工。
Wait. She did this with the high schoolers. It's really good to watch. Can you quickly sign?
你可以
Hello everybody.
可以给我们做手语的简单的介绍。
One more time.
可以再做一次吗？So what does that mean?
I said, hello everyone, I'm happy I'm here with you all. I said, hello everyone, I'm happy I'm here with you all.
OK， 他刚刚所做的手语是说我名字叫做 Hannah， 我很高兴与你一起来在一起。
So I was born and raised in a Christian family.
我是生长在一个基督徒的家庭里面，然后在基督徒的家庭里面成长。
So I remember growing up and telling God that I loved Him.
我记得说，我从小成长的时候跟主说，主啊，我爱你。
And I knew about the Bible and I knew lots of stories about Him.
我也读圣经，我也知道很多有关于耶稣的故事。
And I think I was saved at the age of 7. I'm not sure if I experienced Him that much in my day-to-day life.
我愿意说，我可能在7岁的时候我接受主，但是从那时之后，我可能没有太多的一个主观的经历。
And then when I was young, maybe around when I was 7, there's a lot of family challenges, and through that experience, I learned to trust in God.
在7岁的时候，我们家庭可能有一些困难，所以从那时候我开始学习如何来依靠主。
So during the time when my parents were separated and getting divorced, I had the opportunity to go to lots of Christian camps.
在那时候，我的家庭有被我爸妈因为离婚的关系，我可能能够去参加很多的教会的一些的活动，特会之类的活动。
And I just remember being overwhelmed with God's love for me and being overwhelmed with the fact that He can help me to trust in Him.
所以那时候我感受到很多神的爱，感受到说我真的能够把我这一生，把我交信托给主。
So then fast forward to high school.
那我们就可能就快转到我在高中的时候。
For the first year and a half, everyone in my high school knew I was a Christian.
那时候在高中的时候，每个人都知道我是基督徒。
And I spent a lot of time with one specific friend, and she was a part of a big group of friends.
我常常跟一个朋友来在一起，那他这是我们一大群朋友其中的一位。
And the more that I spent less time with people from my church, and the more I spent time with that group of friends.
在那时候呢，那时候我花了比较多的时间跟这群朋友在一起，那相对的我就跟我的教会的朋友花的时间就越来越少。
I started to make a lot of compromises in my faith.
我开始做了很多的一些对我里面这个信做了很多的妥协。
So I actually started partying with my friends.
我开始参加了很多的 party， 跟我的朋友出去玩。
And then one night I decided to leave a church conference early to host a party at my own house.
我甚至决定说我要从特会早走，因为我在家里我要准备开一个 party。
And then the police ended up showing up.
到最后连警察都来了。
And I remember that night feeling the most empty and the most dirty I've ever felt in my whole entire life.
我记得说在那个时候，我突然有一个感觉，我实在是非常污秽的，那也非常的空虚，这是这一生我最深刻的一次这样子的一个经历。
And though I knew that the blood of Jesus cleanses me, I held on to a lot of guilt and shame.
那时候其实里面有很多的一个guilt， 很多的罪恶感在我里面。
So for about 6 to 7 months, I knew that Jesus forgives sins, but I didn't accept it.
我那时候知道说的神是愿意赦免的，可是但我不愿意接受他的赦免。
And then when I was going into my last year of high school,
当我经历我高中的最后一年的时候，
I was at a church conference.
我也是在一个教会的一个活动当中。
And God told me that even when I acted as if I hated Him, He still loved me.
神就跟我一句话跟我说，就算在can you say it again?
Even when I acted as if I hated Him, He still loved me.
就算当我恨恶神的时候，但那个时候他还是爱着我。
So I knew that when I was in the midst of my sin and when I was in the midst of my shame, His hand was still reaching out for me.
就算在我犯罪的当中的时候，就算在我琢磨不好的时候呢，他的手还是在呵护着我。
So that was the real turning point in my journey with God.
这算是在我跟神的关系当中，也是一个很特别的一个转捩点。
And there's a verse in 2 Timothy.
在那个提摩太后书有一经节说到
2:11 through 13, and it says, if we have died with Him,
若是我们在跟他的死来在一起，
we will also live with Him.
我们也会同他一起复活。
If we endure with Him,
如果说我们跟他一起一起就忍耐，跟他一起的忍耐，
we will reign with Him.
我们也可以跟他一起同样的做王。
If we deny Him, He will deny us.
若是我们否认他，那他也相同会否认我们。
And then it says, if we are faithless, He remains faithful.
若是我们没有信心，可是他还是信实的那一位。
For He cannot deny Himself.
因为他实在不能否认他自己。
So after that, I saw how faithless I was and still am.
其实那时候我看到，就是我的过往是如何的没有信心，现在可能还是信心还是不足。
And I've been able to see how faithful He is.
因为我如此，我能够看到到说他是如何信实的那一位。
Yeah. So after that, the journey still continued, and God eventually led me to spend time in Jamaica.
那神也继续的与我同行，那让我有一段时间来在那个牙买加那个国家里面。
So I spent time with a deaf community there.
那时候我跟一个就是耳聋的一个团体当中。
And that was kind of a time when I felt like God just took a lot of things from me.
那时候我经历到说神在我生命中拿走很多事情，拿很多东西的时候。
And I felt like I was being stripped of everything that I naturally held on to.
那时候我觉得经历到说主开始剥夺我生命中很多事情的时候，很多东西的时候。
And I think that was really fundamental for me.
就我觉得说那是一个非常基础，非常也是一个很fundamental 很基本的一个事情。
Because I learned that I could rely on God and that His grace was sufficient.
因为我开始知道说，我那时候知道说我应该如何的来依靠主，然后他所给我的都够我用。
So yeah, I'm still learning to love the Lord more and still being exposed and seeing how far I have to go still.
那我还是继续的在经历神给我的一切，还是经历神我需要多少来多来信靠他。
But above all else, I am so grateful for the blood of Christ.
那我实在是对神的宝血非常的很感谢神能够给我他的宝血。
For without it, I would not be here.
那若是没有神的宝血的话，我就不会站在这里。
How old are you?
I'm 20.
我20岁。
I met Hannah online.
我认识到时候其实就是网络上这样子能够搭上线。
3 years ago, when our young people went to America.
大约在3年前，我们的青少年去美国的时候，
They went to Niagara Falls.
他们一起去尼加拉大瀑布的地方。
If you go to Cleveland, you have to go to Niagara Falls.
如果你去克利夫兰，你实在应该要去那瀑布那边。
And one of the houses in Niagara Falls is Hannah and Paul's house.
因为 为在那边的其中一个家庭就是 Paul 跟 Hannah 的家，
So you always go there.
所以你们就一定会去他们家。
And Hannah took these amazing photos.
Hannah 照一些很漂亮的照片。
And I saw, so I was looking at Elsa's posts on Facebook.
我开始看到是 Elsa 的 Facebook 放了一些照片。
And I said, wow, who took these
我
photos?
说是谁照的这些照片呢？
And now I finally meet Hannah.
那我说终于第一次看到 Hannah。
So anyway, that's just a little bit of background.
我给你一点一些小的一些。
Girls, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so staying with Thomas and Lena are the brothers, Paul and Sam.
住在我们家是 Paul 跟 Sam。
Hello everyone. I'm from Cleveland. I go to Case Western Reserve University and I study aerospace engineering.
那我名叫Sam，也是在克利夫兰读书。那我读的是航空工程。
And I want to share with you
太
about
空工程。
and I want to share with you about how I grew up in the church life, but then fell away from the Lord, but then came back.
我愿意分享说，我是从基督徒家庭成长，离开了神，可是又回到神的面前当中。
So I grew up in a Christian home, but didn't really have a solid foundation in it.
那我是在基督徒的家庭里面成长，但是我的根基并不是那么的坚固。
I think it's a really similar case for many second generation Christians.
那也愿意说，这是对很多第二代基督徒是相同的一个经历。
Like we understand what the Lord did for us,
我可以大概客观的知道说，神为我们做一些什么样的事情，
but we don't really have the experience for how that really applies to us.
但是我却没有主观的经历说如何的他如何没有一个对他有一个很主观的经历。
So when I entered my first year of college,
当我在大学的第一年的时候，
I was scared that I would fall away from the Lord
我其实蛮害怕说我会离开神的面前，
because I was moving away for the first time,
因为我是第一次搬离开家，
and I think my mind was I wanted to go to college to have fun.
对我来有一个观念是说我要去大学，因为我想要享受所有一切好玩的事情，享受我的生活。
So at first I did well, what I would think.
一开始我觉得说我好像做的还不错，至少我觉得我做的还不错。
I would go to meetings, I would go to Bible studies, but I wouldn't necessarily have a real experience with Him every week.
我也去我该去的聚会，我也去该去的追求，那可是我的经历好像并不是那么的实际。
But eventually I made friends with the wrong people and started doing some bad things.
可能也在那时候认识一些不好的朋友，开始做一些不好的事情。
So I started missing meetings because I was too tired, and I would miss Bible studies because I had other obligations.
因为我开始落了聚会，因为我可能太累了，然后可能有些其他事情要做了。
So that went on for the first semester.
在第一个学期有这样子的事情发生。
But then over our winter break, I attended a Christian conference.
在我的寒假之后呢，我也去参加了一个寒假的时候教会一个特会。
And there I think I really got reignited for the Lord.
但那时候主又重新的点燃我在他面前的一把火。
I learned about how the Lord can actually be really real to us.
我那时候认识到说神可以如何的对我来如何的实际，
And not just like routine.
而不是一个一周一周来的这一个只是一个习惯。
I was really excited to come back to school and I guess like demonstrate what I had learned.
那当我回到学校的时候，开始操练我所学到的一些事。
I started actually reading my Bible.
我开始真的自己在读这本圣经，
And started reading a spiritual book.
开始来读属灵的书。
And that it's similar to first semester. I kept that up for a couple of weeks.
跟第一个学期差不多吧，我也支撑了几周。
But eventually my social life and sports got in the way.
但是过没多久，我的一些我社交的活动跟我喜欢的运动就开始回到我的生活当中。
But the elders of our local church would always talk to me and ask, "Where are you? Like, we miss you. Like, you should come to the meetings more often."
在我所在的那边的长老常会打电跟我联络说：“嘿，你去哪里啊？我们好久没看到你。”
So I was stuck between my social life with my friends at school and my church life with the saints.
所以我开始有这样子的一个挣扎，我到底是我的属世的朋友们呢，还是在教会的生活当中呢？
And I think at this point I had fallen so far from the Lord. I remember having a conversation with one of my friends. Like, it's so boring to be a Christian. Like, why can't I just have fun with my friends?
这时候我觉得说，我从神的面前我发现说我在有多远离神，因为我开始跟我一个朋友讨论说，我实在不想当基督徒了，我应该，所以这样我才能够享受我的生活。
That was probably the lowest point I was at in my Christian life, but I just didn't realize it.
我那时候我觉得说，这时候算是我的人生最低的低潮的时候吧，因为我连有这样的事情我都不知道发生了。
But halfway through that semester, I was playing rugby and I got badly injured.
我在第二学期当中其中在有一次的足球的活动当中，我受了蛮严重的受伤。
So I couldn't play sports anymore, and I lost all of my motivation to hang out with my friends. So I basically lost everything I had been doing for the entire year.
因为如此的一个受伤，让我没办法继续做我喜欢的运动，那我也不想要跟我的朋友来相处了，那所以我等于失去所有之前我追求的一切。
So I decided to go to spend more time in school because I didn't really do that while I was with my friends or playing sports.
我开始慢慢的花比较多的时间在学校，因为我之前其实在学校花的时间并不太多。
Let's see. So I probably devoted most time that I've ever had to school.
我等于是从那时候开始，我花大部分的时间在学校课业上。
I would study from when I got back to my dorm during class, after class, and until I went to bed.
所以我就会花所有的时间，从我回到我的宿舍到睡觉之前，就是我花所有的时间都在读书。
But even though schooling was now my number one priority, I still failed test after test.
就算我花那么多时间在课业当中，可是我还是一直我的考试还是不过关。
So I talked to my school advisor about that, and she suggested I go to the doctor.
我跟我学校的老师有点讨论，他说你可能要去看个医生吧。
And they found out I had been diagnosed with concussion during my rugby game.
后来才发现说，原来在我那时候受伤的时候，我有点脑震荡的现象。
So I was basically in the situation right before finals where if I studied, I would probably fail my classes, but also permanently injure my brain.
所以那时候等于是在我大考之前，然后就算我读书，我可能还是会考试还是不过关。那我也知道说我身体好像有一个伤害是有永久性的伤害。
But I didn't see that I had a choice, so I just kept studying over and over again. And even though it hurt, even though it hurt my brain, I had no other choice.
对我来说，就算说好像读书没有什么用，有这样子的永久性的伤害，那我还是继续读试试看吧。
Finally came to one of my biggest tests.
来到一个最重要的一个考试当中。
And I knew I needed to do well in it to pass the class.
那时候我知道说我应该要有一个好的成绩，要不然我不能够继续往前。
And once I got my grade back, I realized that I did not do well.
当我拿到我成绩单的时候，我知道说我其实没有读得很好。
Which I guess that's expected, but it was a real surprise to me.
就算说好像应该是如此，可是对我来讲还是很惊讶的。
So I was so destroyed then, and I just wanted someone to talk to.
You do it.
I did.
You did. Okay. 在那时候拿到这样的成绩单的时候，我实在非常的失落。那我很想要找一个人能够来跟我谈一谈。
So I called home, and my dad picked up.
所以我打电话回家，然后我爸爸接了电话。
And I told him about what happened, and he asked me if I wanted to pray.
我跟他讲我所发生的一切事情，他跟我说我们要不要一起来祷告。
And I didn't like even thought about that. Like
对我来说，我居然连想都没有想到该做这样的事情。
like I grew up in a Christian home, but I didn't even think that the Lord's right there. Like why don't I just talk to him?
我是从一个基督徒的家庭长大，为什么我连想都没有想到可以跟神祷告？
And I think I had the most like genuine prayer to him that I've ever had.
我在那时候，我愿意说，那是我在神面前神的面前最真实的祷告。
Because I was so lost.
因为我实在是如何是一个失落的一个人，迷失的一个人。
I didn't have anything that I had before. Everyone around me had failed me, and even I had failed myself.
在我身边所有的人都对我来讲都是失败的，连我自己都是一个失败的一位。
So that was like a real turning point for me.
对我来说，这也是一个很强烈的一个转捩点。
I didn't start trusting the Lord immediately, but slowly I started to gain more faith in Him.
我愿意说，在那时候并不是完全的信托给神，但是我愿意说，我慢慢的把一点一点的交托给神。
I eventually understood that even though there was no more hope that semester for school, I could still have faith in Him.
那时候就算说对我的学校成绩已经没有任何的盼望了，但是我还是把我的盼望交托给神。
Yeah, so I basically was first lost in my Christian life, but then through this weakness, I like found Him again.
我等于是说我在神面前，我离开了神的面前，但是借着这样子的经历，主再把我恢复到他的当中。
And now I understand that He's the only one you can trust.
我才认识得到，真的主会认识到他是唯一一个可以信托的那位。
I put my trust in my friends, myself, but they've all failed.
我过往我把我这样子的事情信托给我的朋友们，信托给我自己，没有一个站立起来。
And now I think that through this, I can actually say that I have some real experience with Him.
我愿意说，经过这样经历，我才能够说我真的有认真的主观的来经历神。
Amen.
A small moral of Sam's story is that Americans should not play rugby. Okay, sorry, Sam.
Hi, my name's Paul.
我的名叫 Paul，
I'm from Buffalo.
我是从水农城来。
Hannah's my sister.
Hannah 是我的妹妹。
Currently, I'm in school to become a nurse.
我是在读护理。
This year, me and my fiance are gonna take 10 months off.
准备接下来我准备跟我的未婚妻来参加10月的追求。
So we both have one more year of school left.
我们两个人都还有1年的学期要去学习。
But we wanted to learn to serve the Lord together.
但我们愿意在主面前呢，如何来服侍神，所以我们就花准备接下来10月的追求。
And dedicate more time to learn to serve the Lord as a couple.
就把我们应该说把人愿意来在一起，我们跟我的未婚妻来在一起，一起的来服侍神。
And then we will finish school after.
那我会之后再把我们的课程读完。
But yeah, and then we hope to get married in January.
我们期望在明年1月份能够结婚。
So we're excited.
所以我们很开心，很期待。
So anyway, that's a little bit about me.
这是一点点有关于我的事。
But yeah, I grew up in a Christian family, like my sister said.
像我的妹妹说，我们是在基督徒家庭里面成长。
We have a little bit of a big family.
我们有一个蛮大的一个家庭。
There's 6 of us kids.
我们有6个兄弟姐妹。
So it was already always a party at our house.
不管怎么样，都是一个 party 的一个环境。
So, but my walk with the Lord was I don't know, maybe it's not that unique, but
我与主同行的故事，或许可能不是那么的独特。
So, like many second-generation Christians,
就像所有的第二代的基督徒，
I had some basic experiences of the Lord.
我们有些基本的在主面基本的一些的经历。
At some camps that like Mike Samuelak and Mark led.
可能有些在麦或是 Mark 带的一些的特会当中，
So they helped us just touch God.
他带领我们如何摸着神，
Yeah, just to experience God.
来经历神。
So as I grew up and went into high school,
成长的过程当中呢，进入到了高中里面，
I realized there was like a little bit of a separation between me and my friends.
对我来说，好像跟我的朋友有一点点的分离。
So a lot of my friends just started like partying and drinking.
有些我的朋友们开始去参加 party， 开始去喝酒。
But there was something within me that I just felt like I wasn't supposed to be a part of that.
里面有一个感觉说，我好像不应该跟这样的事有份。
So at that point, there's like a little bit more of actual like I felt like separation that I experienced from the world and I.
在那时候开始经历有一点点与属世的一个分离。
And I realized that my life was not just supposed to be like small experiences of God. My life wasn't just supposed to be small experiences of God.
对我来说，好像在主面前不应该只有小小的一点一点的经历。
But was supposed to be one continual life with God.
应该是每一步都跟神有交通，与主每一步都与主同行。
I would go to church on Sunday.
对我来说，我礼拜天会去聚会。
And be a good Christian.
可能做一个好的基督徒。
And do Christian-like things.
做基督徒好像应该做的事情。
And then I would go play with or hang out with my friends from high school.
然后之后可能就跟我的朋友们去玩。
And swear with them.
可能就跟他们说一些他们所会说的话。
And be vulgar. Vulgar. Same thing. Anyways. And just did a lot of unchristian-like things.
就开始做一些好像不像基督徒所说应该做的事情。
I noticed that my life was not one continual walk with the Lord.
我突然发觉说，我的生活好像并不是一直与主同行，好像有一个间断。
Instead, there was going to church Paul.
有一个是去教会的 Paul.
And Paul with my friends.
有一个是跟朋友的 Paul.
And they didn't really correlate or reconcile much.
这两个实在是不能够搭在一起。
So they were two Pauls.
所以是有两个不一样的 Paul.
I realized it was very hypocritical.
对我来说，这是非常的hypocritical.
Contradictory.
I know this in my head. 假冒的，很假冒为善的一件事情。
So I slowly started feeling the Lord convicting me of these things that I was doing.
我开始经历说主在我面前所对付我所说的一些话。
Just even starting with swearing with my friends.
就开始说一些脏话，开始那样的事情，开始对我有些的说话。
They knew I would go to church camps.
他们也知道说我会去教会的特会。
But I wasn't really that much different other than that.
但是我好像我生活中没有太多的不一样。
So I think to them, Christianity was a little bit more of like a joke.
对我的朋友来说，当基督徒好像只是一个玩笑一般的事情。
Because I wasn't really expressing God that much.
因为对他们来说，我并没有彰显神太多，彰显神在我生活当中。
So as I learned to grow more,
当我学习如何在神面前有成长的时候，
the Lord started convicting me of more and more things.
神开始在一些事情上对我有些的对付。
There are a few like I would call them addictions that I struggled with.
我愿意说有些我的一些addiction，一些我愿意说我在一些事情上有些的沉迷。
And slowly the Lord worked on me through these addictions.
神开始在我沉迷这些事情上，慢慢的开始跟我有对付，有经历。
These things in the Bible that we read and I was taught.
那些事情就是在圣经里面所说的那些事情。
Became like real in my experience.
在我成为在我生命中、生活当中成为我生命的实际。
Like my sister shared.
就像我的妹妹所分享的一样。
The fact that the blood of Christ covered us.
神的血包覆着我们。
was one of the first and most beautiful things that I really realized.
只是对我来说是第一件也是最美丽的一件事情我突然回想到。
When my sister read those verses,
当我的妹妹读那些经节的时候，
I couldn't help but cry.
我实在是没有办法不能够在神面前哭泣。
Because of how faithful God was to me.
因为实在是神是那信实的那位。
How sinful I was.
我是如何充满罪的那位。
And yet He still pursued me.
但是他还是追求着我。
How faithless I was.
我如何的不信。
And how faithful He was.
但还是信实。
God welcomes us.
当然，神是欢迎我们的那位。
Despite our hypocrisy.
就算我们的假冒，我如何的假冒，如何的伪善。
But He does want us to come out of it.
但是他是要我们从那边离开的。
And He's asking each of us to make one step.
他是愿意要求我们每一个人都踏出这样子的一步。
Toward Him.
踏出往他那边的一步。
To be more like Him.
才能够如何更像他一样。
To be transformed into His image.
从磨成他的形象。
And it's a beautiful progress.
这是一个很美丽的一个图画一个过程。
And we experience God taking us from one degree of glory to another.
这是享受到主的荣耀，一点一点的就进入到他的荣耀当中。
We all struggle with sin.
我们都对这件事情，我们都有我们的挣扎。
But God is calling us.
但是神却呼召着我们。
And we have His life.
但是我们有他的生命。
To really come out of that.
是我们能够从那样的情形的离开。
A lot of times, we struggle with a lot of things.
我们常常这很多事情我们有交涉。
These things are really, in a way, blessings from the Lord.
有这样子一些的挣扎，实在是也愿意说是神给我们的一个祝福。
And these things really pull us out of our fakeness.
因为这可以从我们的fakeness，OK，false，我们的不信fakeness，我们假装当中而出来。
And they pull us out of our facade.
把我们的一个账目离开。
Of just being a good Christian.
只假冒说我们是一个好像是一个好的基督徒一样。
And they help us really realize how real God is.
让我们真的能认识到说神是如何真实的那位神。
How true everything that's in the Bible is.
圣经里面所有的事情都是真实的。
And this leads us to a very real, intimate walk with God.
这是给我们一个非常密切、非常真实的跟主同行的一个经历。
So today, or as I shared at the high school meeting,
就像我在高中生的聚会当中我分享的事情一样。
there was one verse that really stuck out to me.
有一个经节在我脑海一直停留在那里。
In Exodus 33:11.
在出埃及记里面讲到的。
Says, and Moses spoke to God face to face.
在摩西跟神面对面的交谈说话。
So this is my experience today.
这也是我跟神的一些经历。
We just don't have little touches with God. We don't just have. He doesn't want us to just have little touches with Him.
不只是说神能够摸着我们。
But to have an intimate relationship with Him.
但是我们跟神是有一个密切的一个关系。
To be our closest friend.
变成我们最亲密的好朋友。
It's hard to guess that the boys would be the ones who touch the Lord in the softest way.
有时候很难想象说是弟兄们能够被主如此有亲密的一个的摸着。
We're running out of time, but I really want you to hear from Brad and Mark.
我们时间虽然有点剩的不多，可是我们很想要从 Mark 跟 Brad 这边听他的见证。
Especially because next week we will have a gospel meeting.
因为很特别、很重要，是因为说我们下周主日是有一个福音的聚会。
And I think Mark is planning to lead the gospel meeting.
因为 Mark 会带我们有这样子的福音的聚会，
So I would like you to listen to him,
我愿意听他来说，
be impressed by him,
也被他所impressed， 有印象。
He led the high school meeting on Friday.
他过往的礼拜五，他带着高中的聚会。
He was really tired.
虽然他很累，
But when he started speaking, we all got carried along.
当他说话的时候，我们也跟着被他带进入他的话语当中。
So he really did a good job.
他做得很好。
So I would really like us to bring our friends next Lord's Day,
我愿意说，把我们所有的朋友们下礼拜带到我们聚会当中，
just to hear the gospel.
就来听这样子的聚会。
They need to get saved.
他们需要被主来拯救。
Okay, so sorry for talking. Brad and Mark.
我们可以每个人都认真来听他们所说的话。So can we not talk at the back, please?
Hi Saints, my name is Brad.
我的名字叫 Brad。
I'll try to make my testimony quick.
我试着简短说一些我想说的话。
I believed in Jesus when I was, I think, 6 years old.
我愿意说，我信耶稣大概是我6岁的时候。
I was raised in a family who loves the Lord.
我是在一个爱主的家庭里面成长。
And like most second generations, my growth in my faith was very slow and gradual.
对第二代基督徒，你在主面成长都是慢慢的成长。
I did experience God time to time.
我愿意说我在主面前经历偶尔会有些的经历。
But I never had a drastic change in who I was because of that.
并没有一个很确定的一个经历，有一个如何的一个分别，一个改变。
Because of all of the meetings and trainings I sat in.
因为去参加过这么多的训练，这么多的特会。
I thought I was pretty solid in my faith.
我觉得我好像在神面前是非常坚固的一位。
I was like a pretty good kid.
我觉得我好像还是一个不错的小孩。
But then it wasn't until college when a lot of what I believed in was actually realized.
直到说我当大学的时候，很多我所相信的，我才开始有实际的经历。
After I graduated high school, I was planning on going away to college.
当我高中毕业的时候，我决定要去上大学。
So I would be moving about 3 or 4 hours away from my home.
我要去的大学大概是离家大概3-4个小时吧。
I didn't know of any church there.
那边好像没有中间的教会聚会。
I didn't know of any believers there.
我不知道有任何的基督徒在那边。
And it was far from any of my family.
而且是离我家很远。
Growing up, there's a lot of older kids that I really looked up to in the church.
在我成长的地方，有很多年长的弟兄姊妹们是我尊敬的一些人。
I really admired and respected them.
我对他们是有我的尊敬，我的这样子的一个感觉。
And I wanted to be like them.
我也想要跟他们一样。
But I observed that a lot of them who went went to college, a lot of them it seemed like they just disappeared.
我也发现到说，很多我所尊敬的、敬重的人，他们去大学之后，好像就离开了教会，离开了神。
There were some that I thought cared for me or did care for me.
有些甚至照顾我的人。
But then it was like when they went to college, they changed.
好像他们去大学之后，他们就变了一个样。
And I just didn't see them again.
那我就从此就没再看到他们了。
So when I was getting ready to move away for college, I was kind of scared.
当我准备要搬离开家的时候，其实里面还蛮害怕的。
I saw what that environment did to a lot of the kids that I looked up to, even in my faith.
因为我看到说，很多人因为大学能够对他们有如何的影响。
And I also knew how influenced I was by my own environment.
因为我才发现说，原来我被我的环境是影响有多大。
So growing up, I was safe because I was in a pretty good environment.
因为我从小能够信主，因为我的环境是很好的一个环境。
But I had no idea where I was going.
可是我还是不知道我是往哪里去。
So I remember I had one prayer that summer before I left.
在那个暑假的在去大学暑假的时候，之前的暑假对神有一个祷告。
I remember just praying, Lord, keep me, don't let me go.
我有一认真对主面前祷告说，主啊，求你不要让我而去。
So I went off to college.
那我就去上学了。
And I quickly started looking for just for some fellowship.
我开始寻找我所能够找到的交通。
And I got connected with some campus ministries.
我可能开始接触到一些在校园里面的读经的团体。
And I met a number of believers.
我开始认识到一些信主的基督徒们。
Now this was these believers were very different than I was.
这些的基督徒跟我很不一样。
They all had really different backgrounds than I did.
他们有很多不一样的背景。
I grew up around a bunch of other second generation believers.
我的成长背景是很多的第二代的基督徒。
But a lot of these believers had been saved in the last few years.
的这些基督徒们，他们是第一代，而且是可能前几个月才受浸的。
They had a different Christian vocabulary.
他们在神面前好像有不同的认识。
A lot of them like worship differently.
或许他们敬拜神的方式好像不太一样。
And I realized I actually didn't have that much.
我自己有一个比较不一样认识，觉得说好像我并没有那么多在我的里面。
I had a lot longer history than they had.
或许我有比较长的历史吧。
But I felt like when I had fellowship with them, I hardly even had anything to say.
我突然发现说，好像我历史长，可是我好像没有太多的一些内容可以跟他们有交通。
I really didn't have that much of a reality of experiencing the Lord.
我并没有那么多经历主的实际在我当中，可以跟他们有所交通。
I remember also my faith being challenged in different ways.
我也发现说，我的信心一直被很多事情来试炼，来挑战。
Being around these believers, like really encouraged me to pursue something that was real of Christ.
跟着这群基督徒来在一起，肯鼓励我，愿意在主面前有一个实际的追求，来追逐他们也有的实际。
And that made me question a lot of the things that I had been taught growing up.
那就让我开始对我之前所知道的事情开始有一些的挑战，有些的问题。
I remember reading the Bible and just writing down all these questions that I never even thought of before.
那我在读圣经的时候，开始写下很多问题，我以前从来没问过的问题。
And then I would pray about them, looking to God to give me answers.
那我开始跟神有祷告，跟主啊，求你给我一个答案。
And God did answer a lot of them for me.
而且神也很信实的回答很多我所问的问题。
And then the ones that I didn't get answers, He gave me a lot of peace about not knowing.
就算有些没有给我的答案，可是他却给我里面所没有的平安。
I remember one night staying up with a couple of these believers.
有一天晚上跟那些的基督徒有一些的交通。
And we were talking about the gospel.
我们开始讨论过有关于福音的事。
And even with my my Christian friends back home, we never really talked about the gospel.
就很奇怪说，在家乡的那些基督徒们，我好像从来没讨论过有关于福音的事。
But I remember that night, it was like I was having revelations of these basic Christian truths.
那好像神在这个时候给我一些的开启，一些基本的福音的真理，开启在我面前。
I had been saved for like 12 years, but I was blown away at how Jesus actually saved me.
我信神12年了，可是这天好像神第一次在面前打开来说，主啊，你是如何的拯救了我。
So a lot of these things I had heard growing up, I started actually like experiencing.
我从小所认识到一些真理，我从现在开始实际的经历这些。
And so there's a couple of things that I learned in my time away at college.
我在读大学，离开家的这段时间，学到一些的事情。
One was I was experiencing what a church life was.
我开始经历到教会生活的实际。
I shared a life with these other believers.
我跟这些基督徒们共享一个生命。
Not because we shared anything humanly in common.
并不是分享说我们在肉体生活上中一 些相同的事，都类似的事。
but because Jesus was alive in them.
因为神是在他们是活在他们当中，
And he was becoming alive in me too.
而且他在我也是活在我的当中。
I also started to experience what companionship was.
我开始享受所谓的属灵的同伴的生活。
Their going on with the Lord really encouraged me to pursue him too.
他们在神面前的生活也相同的鼓励我有要同样的生活。
And I think the other biggest thing that I realized
有一个很大的重点，我想到的是，
was how huge God was.
有一个让我认识到说神是如何的大。
A lot of my ideas about God
我对神我想象中的神
were just like blown away.
就被神他自己来变大。
He was so much bigger than the box that I had put him in.
他实在给我所设计的一个盒子大太多太多了。
I realized how important everybody's experience with Christ was.
我开始珍赏所有基督在各个基督徒当中所有的一些经历。
Because that brought in my own experience.
因为他能够把我带到这样的经历当中。
I could experience Christ through other saints.
我可以经历过，可以借着别人基督徒的经历，让我有所经历。
And all these things really solidified my own conviction of who Jesus was.
这样也兼顾说，耶稣在我面前是如何的一位。
And then over those 2 years, I also saw Christ start to change who I was.
而且在这2年当中，我也可以感受到神在我面前所做的改变。
Good morning.
早。
Good afternoon.
已经到下午了。
My name is Mark Miller.
我名字叫 Mark Miller。
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
我是从克利夫兰来。
I'm 31 years old.
我31岁。
I'm an old man compared to these ones.
跟他比起来，我是一个老人。
It's a really great honor and blessing to be here in Sydney with all of you.
实在是很荣耀的事情，也很荣幸的事情，能够来到我们当中。
My wife and I live in Cleveland.
我太太跟我太太住在克利夫兰。
And our house is across the street from the church meeting hall.
我们的家就在教会一条街的对面。
So we have a very short commute on Sunday mornings.
所以我们早上去聚会的时候，就是一步路就到。
And we've also been able to host a number of the saints who have visited from Sydney.
我们也能够有机会能够接待从雪梨来的弟兄姊妹们。
So Priscilla and Hannah have stayed with us.
Priscilla 跟 Hannah 也住在我们家过。
Tina, Fiona, right?
然后 Tina 跟 Fiona 住过。
Even Thomas and his family.
然后 Tommy 我们也住过他们。
And I have the strong memory one time 3 years ago walking into my house at night, late at night. And Nelson and Chris were just sitting there waiting to have fellowship.
我还很记得一次清楚的经验，有一天晚上我很晚回到家的时候 ，Nelson 在那边等着我，应该想要跟我有点交通。
So it's really a great blessing to be here with all of you.
所以来这边实在是很享受主给我们一切的恩典。
And to return the favor of being hosted.
也能够回馈。
I also serve the Lord full time with the church.
那我也是在克利夫兰那边全职的服侍神。
And when people hear that I serve the Lord full time, they often, I can tell in their eyes, their thought is, "Whoa, you are very spiritual."
当很多人听到说你是全时间服侍神的时候，他说哇，你一定是一个非常非常属灵的一个人。
And you can tell in their thoughts, they're thinking, "Wow, you must have been born spiritual."
那很多人会觉得说，你一定是出生就是非常属灵的一位，如此的属灵。
But that's not true.
我愿意跟你说，这不是真的。
And actually, I don't serve the Lord because it's the spiritual thing to do.
我愿意服侍神，并不是因为说这是一个属灵的事，怎么样的事。
I don't serve Him because it's the thing a good Christian.
不是说基督徒好像都应该如此做。
But I serve Him because I found that He is the greatest and most enjoyable thing in our lives.
我愿意服侍神，因为说他是最美好的一位，我愿意如此来服侍他。
This wasn't always the case.
因为这不是一直都是这样子。
When I was in my first year of university,
当我在大学第1年级的时候，
I was no different than any other person.
对我来说，我跟其他人都是一样的。
I saw the world,
我看到这个世界，
and I wanted it.
我要那个世界，
I lived for it.
我为了那样的生
I
活，
sought after it.
我要追求那样的世界。
I was a worldly person.
我也是属世的一个人。
And at the end of that year, I found myself empty,
那年底，我是一个无止空虚的人，
brokenhearted,
被心是破碎的一个心，
full of anxious thoughts,
我是非常紧张紧张的一个感
and
觉，
so far from God.
离神是远远的远离神。
But that summer, out of my depression, I ended up at a Christian gathering.
在那时候如何的失落的时候，我来发现我在一个教会的活动当中，
And in that gathering, God came to me.
在那个活动当中，神来到我那当中，
I don't feel like I came to him, he came to me.
不是我去找他，是他来找我。
Just like the good shepherd went after his lost sheep.
就像这个好的牧者来去搜寻那迷失的一位羊。
And that evening when he came to me, I made a deal with him.
在那天晚上，我跟他打一个交涉。
I had no idea what I was saying.
我并不知道我说了些什么事。
But I said, Lord, if you can help me through this, I want to live a life for you.
但是若是主能够带我经过这样的事情，我愿意把我这一生交托给你。
And he's taken that much more seriously than I have ever since that night.
那他实在比我更认真，对待我所说的这些话。
2 years later, I took a year off between my 3rd and 4th year.
接下来我在我大学第3年、第4年当中，我花了1年的时间。
And in that year, I pursued the Lord.
在那一年的时候，我追求了神。
For the first time, I studied the Bible.
在那一年，我第一次来追求圣经里面的事。
For the first time, I began to share the gospel with people I didn't know.
所以第一次，我愿意跟不认识神的人我不认识的人来分享关于福音的事。
For the first time, I began to care about someone else's spiritual condition.
第一次，我愿意照顾除我之外的属灵的光景。
And at the end of that year,
在那一年的底，
I felt satisfied.
我那天我是满足的一位。
I felt fulfilled.
我觉得我是有意义的一生。
I felt my life was meaningful.
我发现说我的生命突然有了意义了。
And I realized it was so different than what the world offered to me.
我发现说这跟世界能够给我的是非常的不一样。
A life with Christ.
跟基督一起的生命。
A life pursuing Christ.
一生是追求基督的生命。
A life following Him.
一生追求基督的生命。
Is the highest enjoyment you can have.
这是最高的享受。
And I'm bold to say that to all of you today.
我愿意大胆的跟你们所有人说。
That's my experience.
这是我的感受，我的经历。
The world will leave you empty.
这世界会让你是空虚再加空虚。
Live your life for your job, you'll feel empty.
若是你为了工作生活，你还是空虚。
Live your life for sports on Saturday, you'll be empty.
若是你为了追求周末或是你的运动，你还是会空虚。
Live your life for Yamcha, you'll be empty.
Right. 若是你只是想要吃饮茶，你身上还是空虚。
I can tell you all of these things will leave you empty.
我愿意跟你说，所有这些事情都会让你还是空虚的。
But Jesus Christ satisfies.
耶稣基督是让你充满你的那一位。
He satisfied me.
他这成我的充满我。
He's never run out.
他绝对不会不够。
He's always so enjoyable.
都是让你是。 可以让你享受的那位。
Year after year after year, He remains the greatest joy in my life.
年复一年，他还是那位我享受丰富的那位。
And I know that if you pursue Him,
因为我知道，若是你追求他的话，
if you give time to
若
Him,
是你给他时间，
if you love Him,
若是你爱他，
if you live a life for
若
Him,
是你的生命你这一生交托给
and
他，
if you love the brothers and sisters and live lives for them,
若是你爱你弟兄姊妹，你把你生命交给他们，
that life is so meaningful.
那你生命会充满了意义。
That life is purposeful and valuable.
那你生命会有意义，而且是有价值的生命。
And that life is so satisfying.
而且那生命那样生活是如何的满足的生命。
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. So if you want more, come next week.
若是你还想要更多，你下礼拜一定要来。
So I'm sorry that the meeting went so long